On the seventh day, march around the city 7 times. Then the priests should make a long blast with the ram's horn. As soon as you hear the sound of the people shall shout a great shout.
Shalom Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Lekman out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and truth sincerity. Okay, and I just came across a few articles, further getting into this whole Ebola thing and all this nonsense that this devil is pushing. All right. So the first article is from here, fedbizops.gov. All right. And it says compilation of multiple sources of personal protective equipment. Okay. Going down, it says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Procurement and Grants Office is seeking multiple sources of supply for personal protective equipment for potential use in the current Ebola virus disease outbreak response in West Africa, as well as any other future responses to outbreaks of contagious diseases worldwide. All right. Attached is a list of common personal protective equipment that is being sought. Okay, they got different lists that you could click on to show you exactly what they're purchasing, how much they're purchasing of it, and so on and so forth. All right. But it said attached is an updated list of PPE sought that includes our targeted quantities. Quantities represent a planned need over a 30-day period with possibility of an additional month's quantities. Please also indicate the availability of any PPE such as 500 units initial order with 500 units every 2 weeks after. Okay, so the initial order would be 500 units of personal protective equipment, and another 500 units like every 2 weeks afterwards. So that lets you know that these devils are expecting, this Ebola thing to completely widespread, man, a complete global, pandemic, so to speak, which are pushed by these devils' hand, of course, So they know that, that this is going to spread without a shadow of a doubt, because basically what they're saying is that, the Ebola, is now airborne. They're not saying it in those terms, but it basically is. All right. Okay, this next article here says U.S. government secretly searches for technology to combat aerosolized Ebola. And what you see the image right here from somebody sneezing. If someone has Ebola and sneezes, those germs are going to spew everywhere. So that basically makes Ebola airborne, man. Okay, because you're in a room full of people or the doctor's office or something. Somebody got Ebola, but they don't know it at the time. They just sneeze and you happen to be next to them. That's going to get all over the next person's, closest to you, man. Because, those germs fly, man. All right. All right. So I'm going to go on here. It says, according to a DTRA broad agency announcement, the government is seeking technology for rapid disinfection of interior surfaces with viral contamination. The technology must prove effective against viral contamination, either deposited as an aerosol or heavy contaminated combined with bodily fluids, blood, vomit, feces. Responses must address the entire process. A response that only develops a disinfectant sterilant is not sufficient. The document also notes that the means by which Ebola virus is maintained in nature remains unclear, and that it is unknown what other natural reservoirs exist beyond the known reservoir of fruit bats. Alright, I'm going to jump down. It says, The document and bid for new technology in the near term indicate that federal health officials and the Department of Defense believe that the virus can be spread at some point through the air. What, at some point through the air? They already know it's like that already, but they just want to say at some point, which is complete and utter bullshit, man. All right, whether by a mutation or through aerosols, such as when an infected person sneezes. So they telling you right there. In addition, the involvement of the DTRA suggests that the government believes that Ebola could also serve as a biological weapon. It does serve as a biological weapon because these devils created this shit, man. You know? So, you know how these devils play games with words and different things like that, man. And it's supposed to be the Defense Department, But man, it's bullshit. But all right, I read on. It says, rapid disinfection. The government announcement notes preliminary studies indicate that Ebola is aerostolable in an enclosed, controlled system in the dark and can survive for long periods in different liquid media. Okay, and can also be recovered from plastic and glass surfaces at low temperatures for over 3 weeks. So it could be what, in liquids, man. You can fuck around and leave your cup around. Somebody sneeze or something gets into your goddamn cup. You could contract Ebola, man. And then what, on glass and glass and plastic surfaces for what, over 3 weeks. So this thing can definitely spread. You know what I mean, without a problem, man. And it's going to continue to spread without a problem because I was checking something else out and they were saying that it's like over 117 people in New York are being monitored for Ebola, and it's like over 100 people in New Jersey that are being monitored for Ebola. So this thing is obviously spreading, but they're trying to keep it, on the low. And overall, in the U.S., I was checking something else out, and it said that it's over 300 cases of Ebola, that's been reported, but it's been hidden from the media, man. So these devils know exactly what they're doing, man, and they know that this thing is going to spread, man. All right, and this all shows you, man. CDC to purchase body bags in anticipation of more Ebola deaths. Okay. And Slovakia. Okay. All right. Yeah. Start from here. The advisory states that the body bags and other equipment are intended to be used both in West Africa and in response to other Ebola outbreaks worldwide. The CDC is also looking to source surgical face masks, sterile gowns, infectious waste containers, and tarps, amongst other PPE supplies. The notice does not specify the quantity of body bags that the CDC is looking to obtain. Right? In September, the State Department ordered 5,000 body bags to be sent to West Africa. The Ebola outbreak has affected over 13,700 people worldwide, with over 4,900 fatalities. Earlier this month, the CDC instructed funeral homes in the United States to bury Ebola victims in hermetically sealed caskets which must be secure against escape of microorganisms and have valid documentation for being airtight. Last month, the CDC also issued a 3-page list of recommendations which warned funeral home workers not to carry out autopsies or to embalm corpses. As we reported yesterday, the U.S. government ordered 250,000 hazmat suits to be sent to Dallas. So if they order 250,000 hazmat suits to be sent to Dallas, they know that this thing is already spread, man. Okay, they said they had claim they had 1 or 2, cases of Ebola in Dallas, and they're quarantining multiple people. So if they're sending this many, they know that this thing is going to be completely taken over, man. The whole U.S. is going to be completely taken over with this Ebola, man. All right. Yeah, as we reported yesterday, the U.S. government ordered 250,000 hazmat suits to be sent to Dallas, location of the first Ebola case in the United States. One company alone has sold over 1 million hazmat suits to government agencies worldwide since August. In an opt for Forbes published yesterday, former FDA official Scott Gottlieb MD warned that larger and more frequent Ebola outbreaks will inevitably hit American cities in the near future, and that the imminent onset of the flu season will make it harder to keep tabs on potential Ebola victims in the United States. So these devils, they're making it plain as day for you, man. And then what? What, flu season coming right around the corner? And then what? They stated if you have flu-like symptoms, you can be quarantined for Ebola. So they're putting this thing all together and set this thing up properly, man. So these devils are coming real soon, man. They coming real soon, and this is just the start of it, man. With this whole Ebola thing, and then coming out with the vaccines and so on and so forth, man. This is just the start of the evils that are to come upon the face of this earth, man. And Lord willing, very soon we'll be delivered up out of here, man. So I'm gonna just grab this one scripture real quick, and I'm gonna close this out. All right, this is Psalms 37:7. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. So we don't have to worry about this Ebola thing. This is not for the elect, man. Lord willing, those of us laboring are a part of the elect. We don't have to worry about things like this. With faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we don't have to worry about shit like this. This is for 2/3 and for the other nations, man. All right. Okay, so rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. We waiting patiently. We constantly throwing up them prayers that we can be saved from all these said perils that are to come, man, having that utmost faith. All right. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Because this devil, they brought this Ebola to pass, man, and they're bringing all of these troubles that are happening here in America. They're bringing all of these things to pass, but it's the will of the Heavenly Father, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushai to bring all these things to pass, so that 2/3 can be destroyed, so that the wicked, the so-called white man, can be destroyed, the other nations, and that he can usher in the kingdom, man. So this is a joyous thing, that all of these things are happening. So brothers, we just gotta constantly keep up the faith, constantly throw up them prayers, man, and do our best to give diligence unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai and to do his will and not our own, man. So with that, I hope this information was edifying, and I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect men out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalom, death to America.
On the seventh day, march around the city 7 times. Then the priests should make a long blast with the ram's horn. As soon as you hear the sound of